Hello viewers, I'm Ron Grant coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands. You're watching 284 Media. Thank you so much for joining us. The H. Laverty Stout Community College is pleased to announce the sponsors of the 2022 BVI Literary Arts Festival from the 3rd to the 6th November as part of the Department of Culture's Culture and Tourism Month. This year's festival will showcase and feature literature, film, music, and spoken word under the theme Unspoken, Unwritten, Unknown. The diverse program features writers and speakers from the Caribbean and its diaspora through a series of panels, readings, films, workshop, lectures, and a local book fair. As usual, I am honored to be joined by one of the Caribbean's best and brightest, Mr. Derron Sandy. Of course, he is one of the featured presenters, a performance poet. After a quick commercial break, we will hear all about his journey as well as what we can expect. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Freeze. Choose your mix, choose your flavor.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works. Viewers, welcome back and thank you so much for your time. As mentioned and promised, I am joined by the one and only Derron Sandy, a poet who is joining us. Derron is one of the featured presenters at this year's BVI Lit Fest 2022. Derron, welcome to 284 Media. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. First time heading to the BVI, so I'm excited about that.
Wonderful, and we look forward to receiving you and hearing and sharing what you have for us. Now, I want to begin by asking you to introduce yourself and tell the viewing audience a little bit about yourself for those who may not be familiar with your work.
Nice. My name is Derron Sandy. I am a performance poet. Performing poetry is just taking the words from the page, placing them on stage, and I've been doing that for the past 14 years. I actually left my full-time job as a teacher. I used to teach English A and English B for students preparing to do CXE. And I left that at the end of 2013 to take on performance full-time. The experience itself has been fulfilling. There's no greater joy than doing something that you love and you have a lot of passion for. So I'm very passionate about not just performing on stage, but sharing the art form with others, particularly young people and children. I've had the opportunity to be the artistic director of one of the leading spoken word organizations in the region called the Two Cents Movement here in Trinidad. And we have been able to travel the world and the region, sharing spoken word poetry and the techniques that we have, and of course, having valuable exchanges with different partners across the globe. I'm also the founder of my own performance arts NGO called the Keys Foundation, Keys as in where ships come, and allowing youth to use performance for some sort of social change. I am a firm believer that performance should be closely connected to the things you strive to be in real life. So while you might not be there immediately, it's a journey always to make your lifestyle match the words that you portray on stage. Because I believe words are very powerful, and as such, the art of performance itself is a powerful thing.
Things that you mentioned is that you were a teacher, and I find that very interesting. You have now segued. We both taught English and literature. I did that for quite a number of years. I want to get into details about really making sure that our generation of young people are poised to be not only writers and poets, but have an appreciation for literature and the art of writing. What were some of your observations as a teacher, Derron, within the public schools that you think we could improve upon when it comes to really promoting literature in our schools?
Even now, we live in a new age where technology is an important facet to the lives of these young people. Um, to me, the onus is always on the education system to continue to be creative. As much as technology continues to advance, we need to advance our teaching techniques. While we may not be able to package a lesson into a TikTok size video, we could definitely benefit from some of the platforms that the youth are using. I've seen some teachers and some educators leverage these platforms very well, creating TikToks on different subjects, etc. And I appreciate that. I think any way that we could innovate the classroom, especially when it comes to the promotion of literacy and literature on the whole, because of course many students are not picking up the traditional book, so to speak, to read it. But then there are many other ways they can access literature, and we need to promote that. And probably the examiners that have to take a hard look at that and see how we can make this part of the system, whether it is through the SBAs or the internal assessments and the way they go about preparing before the actual exam, which is a very traditional sort of system, especially in Trinidad and the rest of the Caribbean that uses the CXC system. How we could really leverage what they are using to make the assessments more relevant to them. And I think anything along those lines would be accepted by the students and would bolster the education system, especially when it comes to literacy.
Incredible. Now, one of the things that sets you apart from other poets is that you are not only a poet, but you are a performance poet. I want to put into perspective the art of performance and not only writing your poems, but being able to bring them to life on stage. Tell me about your process in preparing for your performances.
The thing about stage poetry is that you have this 3 to 4 minute period, sometimes less, sometimes more, to resonate with the audience. And unless they go back and watch a video, which in many cases they are not likely to do, all you have is that space of time. So the metaphor, the concept, it has to be relevant. You have to be able to punch the audience. You have to be able to remain culturally relevant to what the audience may be facing, because spoken word poetry or performance poetry, it is so immediate, meaning that it is all about that particular moment. They can go back in a book and read it. So you have to be very careful about how the topic selection and then how you're going to deliver that topic. Sometimes as a writer, you have a bit more flexibility to delve deep into a metaphor, to draw in some references that people may not be familiar with immediately. And while that is good sometimes on the stage, you want the majority of what you present to be accessible to the listener. Right? Especially you have to know the audience you're going to. If I'm going into a school, you mightn't be able to use certain things as if you're going into a group of poets, if you're performing for a group of poets or academics. There are many people that have never heard spoken word poetry before. So you really want to give them a new experience. It's always different to what people expect poetry to be. Normally when they see poetry on a program and then they hear you as a spoken word poet deliver, it's usually a wide gap in between what they expected and what actually happened, and that's always an exciting experience. So the process definitely involves trying to stay grounded with communities so you can understand what people feel and what people going through on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
So when you bring the poetry to them, it is their narrative that you are sharing on stage, because you'd have been experiencing this yourself as a performer. So part of the process is just really staying grounded with people and being part of communities as much as you can.
Now, in staying grounded and keeping connected with persons on the ground, which I totally agree is a huge part of the role, I want to talk about some of the social ills that you have been able to incorporate in your work. Of course, hailing from Trinidad and Tobago, there are a myriad of issues that are affecting Trinidad and Tobago, which are no different. They're not isolated from the BVI or other Caribbean countries. But I want to talk about the ability for poets, and in you, a particular case, a performance poet, in it taking some of these issues, cultural issues, social issues, whether it be ranging from crime to violence, how are you able to incorporate what is taking place in your country and put it on the stage?
All right, I'll give you a practical example of some work we did at the Two Cents movement. There was a point in Trinidad, it was between 2015 to 2017, where a lot of young people, especially young Muslims, they were leaving Trinidad to join the Islamic State, ISIS, at that point in time. And one of the interventions that the Public Affairs Division at the US Embassy saw necessary was to see how we could get the art form in the school talking about that. Of course, we had to do the research first, link with what we call knowledge partners to really build the content that they're going to talk about, because you're not just going to randomly talk about ISIS without knowing the real push factors that would lead to people leaving their homelands to go and fight. So that was a campaign that we put together. It was called the Normal Not Normal campaign, where we took the research, turned that research into poetry, and put all those poems together to create a cohesive performance, and then deliver them in at-risk, in schools that were in at-risk areas, in areas that they defined as, all right, these catchment areas have a lot of young people going across to join ISIS. And I mean, the discourse around that was really interesting, because you never expect as a performance poet that one day you're gonna be trying to mitigate terrorism, right? It was a very unique experience, but it was valuable. And just like that, you could use spoken word poetry to address different issues. I believe when the government and the corporate sides of Trinidad and Tobago are able to fuel the artists with information, I think you have an effective chance of gaining some listening ears, because while youth mightn't listen to a traditional lecture, they will be totally engrossed in a performance when you have the rhyme, the rhythm, and they have the language accessible to them. So we take in whatever needs to be said and packaging it. I think that's one of the most powerful things we have done as spoken word poets in Trinidad, and I've seen it in other parts of the region, when you could really take significant issues and bring it to young people in particular in a form that is very usable for them.
Amazing. Well, as I mentioned, you are a number of highly skillful and talented Caribbean individuals, ranging from lecturers, local persons within authors, films. There's going to be a lot taking place in the BVI Lit Fest 2022. What do you want persons looking at this presentation? What do you want them to come to the BVI Lit Fest expecting? What would you encourage them to come with an open mind? What are your takes on that?
Yeah, as you said, definitely an open mind. Just the understanding that poetry and literature exist in various forms. I'm hoping to bring a touch of Trinidad. I'm hoping to learn as well from the performance poets across there. I'm hoping to have a nice exchange of techniques and ideas, and definitely how we could continue to create a stronger performance poetry industry across the region. So I encourage folks to come with an open mind, prepared to be entertained, but also prepared to be educated and to be engaged in issues from a different region, a different part of the Caribbean. And I think the exchange is going to be something phenomenal.
Amazing. Well, I want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for your time and, of course, speaking on your work and what we can expect at the BVI Lit Festival 2022, which, viewers, is taking place from the 3rd to the 6th of November, of course, at the H. Lively Style Community College. As I mentioned, it features a panel of readings, films, workshop, lecturers, local book fair as well, and we were honored to be joined by Mr. Derron Sandy, a performance poet out of Trinidad and Tobago, who will be coming to the Virgin Islands for the very first time. Derron, we're looking forward to having you, and we wish you all the best. So we'll see you at the fair.
Thank you very much. See you there.
All right, viewers, that's all the time we have. I will see you later. I'm Ron Grant for 284 Media. Have a good rest of the day. Bye-bye.